So today's a bit of a special moment for me. I have my good friend Sebastian from Hyperform. Sebastian and I go way back. I mean, you've been a sim racer for how long?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think pretty much 19, 20 years. Like I'm showing my age here, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a long.
Yeah, and then out of that, you've been a sim racer for how long?
I mean, the first time I grabbed the wheel, I'd say it's about 20 years ago.
Yeah,
But consider myself a sim racer, I'd say maybe 10 years, 10, 12 years, something
the
like that. Yeah,
serious one.
yeah,
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 and then going to the tracks for how long now?
yeah. Probably I would say 7 or 8 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So Seb and I met at the track. I was coaching at Calabogie Motorsport Park, and then everybody there knew how much I was a sim racer to a real racer. And then they're like, "Hey, there's this guy. He's an amazing driver, and he sim races. I think you'd like him." So then they brought me over, and then we got introduced. And since then, I mean, you and I have sim raced a lot together.
Yeah, yeah. Not as much as I would have liked to, but definitely a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we've both been working on growing businesses, which take up a lot of time,
a lot
but
of time.
I think you and I mean you've been through since I've created my first sim racing business, which was Sim Center,
I
which was
was
like
there.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun. But so not only that, but I mean we're gonna get you to talk about Hyperform soon, which is your business. But you've also done some stuff to help us when we were doing real racing.
Hmm.
So we'll get into all of that. But let's start with why this moment is such a milestone for me. So Seb and I are very picky and have very high standards when we're looking at sim equipment.
This is true. This
We
is true.
need it to relate to reality. If not, it's just kind of a waste of time.
Yeah.
And him and I, and we'll leave the competitor name anonymous, but him and I have tried what was been considered as the standard for the market for a very long time. And every time that we've tried it, we were kind of disappointed.
It was underwhelming. Let's
Yeah.
call it that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you were on the sim earlier, I think you described it very well. Do you want to remind us of what that description was?
I think I said it was a glorified butt kicker, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. A licensed glorified butt kicker.
Yeah. So, which is kind of the one reasons why you and I were always kind of looking for the same things out of a motion system.
Hmm.
And then when Vero was created, it was really because we discovered something really good within PT Actuator that we have now elevated and created an amazing partnership. But what PT was already making was starting to fill that void.
Hmm.
So you and I have been talking a lot, and I've been working on this motion system for now over a year, and I've been trying to get you over from a short drive of 2 hours
Kept
away.
kept telling me how good it was, and I'm like, I believe you, but man, it's
So you,
nothing better than trying it.
exactly. So now that you've come down towards where your expectations was to what you were expecting to get out of a motion system in general to what you felt today, tell us how that was.
I honestly came with very little expectation. I didn't really know what to expect. Like when we tried that one, it was a long time ago, and then I tried another one, which was the fixed base.
Hmm.
So only it was under the
The
seat,
seat
right?
mover,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that one, even that one, I felt brought something to the table, but this one was completely different. Like I was not expecting it to be as precise
Yeah.
and to add such a degree to the driving, right? So
Yeah.
that's what blew me away. First of all, it didn't feel unnatural at all from the get go, from the first shift. You're like, this is something else, you know?
Yeah.
This is good. And then just the way you put it through its paces on the downslopes, on the uphills, and just the dimension that it adds is unparalleled to anything I've tried before. So it was taking me by surprise for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, going back on some of the comments you made, I think that were very key.
I don't
Um,
remember anything I've said, by the way. I'm glad somebody was listening because I'm like,
we have all the footage and
oh
proof.
no.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, one of the things that you mentioned before, and that I remembered from when I was starting to play with the motion system. But you're right, is braking.
Hmm.
Braking, especially with iRacing, I find something that's very difficult to
Yes, it was.
feel.
It was. Yeah.
And then often, like you were saying, you have to rely on the bar to see how much pressure you're putting down because it's
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
But with the motion system, you get
It's
that idea.
definitely better. Mind you, we weren't actually gauging performance.
Hmm.
This was mostly feel, right? But I've always leaned more towards that than performance, right? I think to me everything needs to relate to real driving, right?
Yep.
And I think my perspective shifted when I met William Levesque,
Yeah.
the
Oh
guy.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The alien.
Yes, the alien.
Fast
Yeah, yeah,
driver.
yeah, yeah. Very fast driver who won your first competition,
They
right?
did.
Yeah, he
They
did.
did.
And we were speaking, and he said like he has this really old wheel with the force feedback turned really down, right? And I remember thinking, man, I'm the complete opposite. I want to make my driving experience in the sim as difficult as possible because it needs to relate to what I'm doing in real life, right?
Yep.
Even if it makes me slower.
Yep.
And yeah, I think this, I don't know how it translates into me being faster as a sim racer, but
Yep.
for sure it's gonna make me faster in real life. Like I have no doubt in my mind. This
Yep.
is,
I mean that's an interesting topic that
yeah, maybe we'll
we'll
touch
try
about
not
it
to go
later.
too much into
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
you've been out of touch a bit with the sim world, but something that's big right now. I mean, Max Verstappen has said it openly that motion will make you slower on the sim, but I don't think Max has tried the right solutions yet. He's definitely not tried ours.
Mhm.
Our experience is we actually in Germany at the Sim Racing Expo we took the driver with the highest I rating in the world, and we put him through static, 3-DOF, and 6-DOF
Mhm.
through an entire day,
Oh wow,
and he was fastest on the 3-DOF and the 6-DOF consistently.
interesting.
So
Does he have any real life experience?
he's got, I believe, some, and he's going to be. He won, I believe, the Formula 4 championship on iRacing, and will be doing real Formula 4 this year because of it.
You remember his name?
Aaron Vasquez.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah.
So it's my experience so far that people have gone faster, especially with our systems, because it
Mhm.
is giving you such vital information.
Yeah.
And I think that in the end, the simplest way I can explain it, it's force feedback for your body. You don't
Right.
have to have force feedback cranked all the way because then it's just hard.
Mm.
But if force feedback is tuned correctly and giving you a lot of great data, that's where people are driving fastest.
Right.
So by adding all the extra information coming from the motion to what you're feeling, I think this is why we've been kind of proving that wrong. And I don't want to say it's completely wrong or completely 100% true for everyone. I think there's a lot to study there, and
Mm.
that's what we're going to continue to discover and we're going to continue to put to the test. But for me right now, just being able to say that you're just same speed and it's a lot more entertaining or a lot more value to it is already good. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's been my
Sure.
experience so far that people have gone faster and definitely drive more consistently,
Mm.
especially with the 6-DOF, because then you can feel what's going on
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
rear of the car.
I mean, if you're already good driving off instinct, if you're adding data, it almost feels like you're offloading certain parts of your brain and you're able to concentrate on stuff that makes you faster, right? Because you don't have that load of thinking about what's going to happen, not trying to predict, because that kind of all comes natural with the feeling of driving and feeling it for your body. Yeah, as you said, force feedback for the body is a very good one. Did you trademark that?
Not yet. Maybe
Maybe you should.
maybe I should
Yeah.
force feedback for your body by Vero Motion. But yeah, so you've tried the 3-DOF. We started you with the 3-DOF.
Right.
With that system, so let me throw you this question. So one of the debates on the market, or one of the things on the market right now, just like everything else, marketing plays a big role. With wheelbases, a lot of companies will
Everything.
try and have the highest force feedback level or the highest Newton meters and try and drive sales, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
does.
It works.
So with motion, there's obviously weight and speed are two of the factors that are important. So with the 3DOF system,
Hmm.
did you feel like there was any lag or lack of speed into the effects?
There was certainly no lag. And I say this from the perspective of someone who, having sim raced a lot, like my brain is anticipating. That's how you basically go fast, right? You know
Yep.
what's gonna happen, and if you turn in too fast or too slow, you know the next thing that's gonna happen. So my brain is already thinking about a frame ahead, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And even with that mentality, I never felt like this 3-DOF missed a beat. It was always there where I needed, and it kept surprising me in different scenarios. I'm like, okay, now it's probably not gonna make me feel this bump, or it can't give me the feedback while I'm hard under braking, and it's consistently providing that data, which
Mm-hmm.
was a surprise in how responsive and how accurate it is.
Yep.
I'm also guessing like the frequencies that iRacing and all the data that is feeding, that's why it's so good,
Yep.
because it has access directly to those numbers. Um, so fast, absolutely, and and you played with the different.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
mean, with braking, at one point I did
yeah,
crank the travel up and down, and then I put the speed faster and then slower to
yeah.
kind of show you capabilities of
But
it.
in terms of the feedback, I felt it was as valuable when it was low and it was high. It was just a different sensation.
Yeah.
But the way my brain was interpreting was the same way. Okay, we're braking, and I kind of still was able to feel the differences and the nuances in the braking, because I think people don't realize how sensitive our internal ears are, right, and how easy they can be tricked. I mean, just put a VR helmet on.
Yep.
You're not moving, but
Yep.
you think like you're going to throw up and you're gonna die. Like this is sensitive stuff, and
Yeah.
like you don't, and especially if it's like centered around you, which this is very well done. I think if I think about it, I think maybe that's why it feels like every like the center of motion is right where it needs to be, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's what amplifies and gives all these motions like real feeling. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So then we went from the 3 off,
Mm-hmm.
kept you on the same car and
Same
track,
car
just so it
track.
was
Yeah,
apple
yeah,
to apple comparison,
yeah.
and then put you onto the 6 off. So how was that?
So I've been thinking about this question because I knew it was gonna come, and I don't know how to make it not sound like marketing, because it's the perfect setup question, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, go for the sixth off, but it was so much better. I mean, I take nothing away from the three off. It's a valuable tool, but from a like the six just gives you so much more information, so many more combinations, and so much more feedback that it's uh, they're hard to compare, right?
Hmm.
They're completely two different products, right? I mean, it's not just an upgrade; it's a different category of of
Yep.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, again, adding the 3 extra elements, you're adding so much more
so much more.
effect, especially with the rear of the car. And I
Yeah,
think I think that's where it's valuable. I mean, how many real drivers tell you they drive with the seat of their pants and they need to
mm,
feel stuff on the backside?
right.
And I think that's where it comes
I
in.
just thought about something. Would you be able to run just the platform?
So no, not at this time. It's
Okay.
a question that we get often. Um, the first part of that answer is the control. The everything that happens in the platform goes through the control box that is the one
No, but like
for
I
the
mean,
3 off.
on the sixth off, could you just take off the?
Yes,
Yeah, like
but
that. Not
you need it
you need the whole
connected.
thing.
You
Yeah,
need the
yeah,
whole system. But yes, you could
yeah.
tune it to just
Just that.
the
Yeah, yeah,
platform.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That would be an interesting experiment to see exactly what that brings, right? Because
Yeah, I mean, at one point, and maybe it becomes bad. So one of the things that we've learned a lot, and I remember when we had our first 6 DOS system, and I was playing around with it for the first time. It took me such a long time to dial it in.
hmm
3DOF is super simple. I mean, it's easy to see what you do and how it impacts everything.
right.
But there's a connection and a balance with the 6 DOF between what's happening on top to what's happening below.
hmm
So if you
hmm
end up, let's say, for example, cranking the top 3 off too much, then you lose the feeling of what's going on below.
Interesting.
And it's the same thing vice versa.
Okay.
And everything needs to go hand in hand. If not, it just starts to feel disconnected.
So they do feel like two separate systems that you kind of have to bring together.
Correct.
Okay, okay, okay.
Correct.
Can you like give me a brief overview of the options that you have per channel, kind of thing? Is it like
Yeah.
amplitude, frequency? Like what is exactly?
So depending on the effect. So when you get to aptics, frequency becomes a thing.
Okay.
For most of the motion, or for pretty much most of the motion things, there are 3 things that we always recommend people play with. The first thing is filter. So
hmm
filter will be the data that the game is sending.
Right.
How is it being sent to the actuator? Raw, which if you imagine a data line is very jaggedy
hmm
and reacts very is very reactive.
Yeah.
If bring the filter up,
It
so it's a
smooths out all the
smooth.
edges. Yeah.
Yes. So what you're going to feel is going to be a lot more comfortable, but then it starts to almost feel a little bit laggy or a little bit delayed.
hmm
Um, Again, depending on the effects, sometimes you want that more raw, and
Right.
sometimes you want a little bit more smoothing. We find that typically we're a lot raw, like 30-ish%.
Okay. Well, that's
We have smoothing more up with lateral and longitude G forces.
okay.
And the reason for that is because if you go from accelerating or braking or from left to right,
hmm
if you leave that raw, it is very nauseating.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we typically will add smoothing, but then the 2 next things that we recommend people play with is the travel of the effect
Yeah.
and then the speed at which the effect is.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if we use more smoothing, then we will dial in more speed
Yeah.
into the effect to
Right.
counterbalance it. So there are a lot more things you can do. Soft bump stops. You can play with your data curves if you want data to come in linear, or if you want it to be more aggressive on the initial movement
Okay.
and less at the end. Like all of these things are things that you can play with. It really becomes a rabbit hole,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I cannot imagine
but
the
usually just
combinations that.
leaving things linear,
Yeah.
playing with your filter, your speed, and your stroke distance.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay with those three things, typically you can dial it in pretty well.
Interesting. Yeah. And is the motion attached to anything, or is it like free floating? Because at some point I kind of felt it move or even jump. Was that
So
hop?
it
Or
can hop under extreme circumstances. So if you're
okay.
jumping off a really harsh curve, if you crash, for example,
Mm.
it can.
Who crashed? I don't remember crashing.
And cue in the replay.
Oh no.
So it can happen, but it's the system is so robust that it will handle it. It is actually one of the next things that we kind of want to tune in. For those of you that are familiar with SimEQ direct drive wheelbases, for example, they have a hands-off protection.
Right.
So if you're about to crash or if a motion goes really harsh, it will kind of cut out the force feedback for a fraction of a second.
Okay.
So it's something that we're working on, but I think it's I think it's so minor, so rare circumstance. But as we develop more and more
But
software, and
you did mention something, and I completely agree. It adds a dimension of fear
yes,
into the race, because when you hit it, you're like, something's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen.
yeah, I mean crashing sucks.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yeah,
get
yeah.
tossed around a lot,
Yeah,
and yeah, I mean it kind of forces you to avoid that a little bit more
that's true.
than if
Yeah.
you're not feeling anything. So
Mm. And you can feel them coming a lot sooner now, because the car's unbalanced now and it's pushing me to the seat. I'm gonna crash.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's that's the experience that you have with the 3 DOF and 6 DOF. So again,
Yeah.
and
Okay, so
it,
there's a lot of tunability to this thing, and like if you wanna, you have access to all these tools, right? They come with a software, and you have right.
yeah,
So
so we share the profiles
okay,
that we make, and then everyone that buys a Vero product, which we actually have episodes coming out about this right now. If you buy a Vero product, you get included for free a one-on-one session with one of our experts
okay,
to go from that profile and tune it to you.
and you can use it at any time you want. Like you can
Yeah,
get used to it, and then
yeah,
you
yeah. So you
book
can do
a
it right off the get-go, or you can start using it for a little bit. Um, the great thing is, I mean, if you think about a brake pedal, everyone wants a different brake pedal.
It's true. Yeah.
So I think motion is, we all expect things to feel maybe slightly different to
Hmm.
where how our brain perceives things, and that's where I think it's awesome to be able to do that. Now you can figure it out on your own, I'm sure, but the learning curve to try and figure this out on your own and play with it
Hmm.
is a lot steeper than driving, passing the feedback over to us, and us knowing exactly the
What to
areas to
do to get
target.
there? Yeah.
The other thing that it does is it also educates you into, if you wanted something to be a little bit slower or something a little
How do
bit
I change
harsher,
that? How do I do that? Yeah.
you can see how it was done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't have a Vero product and you go onto our YouTube channel and look at some of the episodes that we've made, it will show you how to use SimHub, because SimHub is compatible with other motion systems out there.
Hmm.
So, in the end, I mean, we're passionate about what we do, and we love for people to trust Vero and choose Vero as their motion system. But more importantly for us is we want people that are going to choose motion for their sim rigs to be able to get the maximum amount of it and have a
Right.
great experience.
Yeah.
So if we can contribute to that to some level, even if it's for free, I mean that for us is awesome.
What I really liked about it was that for someone who's really into realism like myself, I have the tools to do that. But
Yeah.
for someone who just wants a little bit of feedback, they can tune it down. They can customize it. So this is a very interesting aspect of this, because like it's not always on, and it's
Yep.
so customizable that like
Yep. Yeah. And again, from our experience so far, at least in the ways that we've tuned it, or for the clients that we've tuned it, we have never met anyone that
so
has
like
used
oh,
maximum stroke or maximum speed. So we've not yet found someone that seemed to have needed a reason to need more than the hardware can provide.
hmm, you haven't sold any to rally car drivers, huh?
I mean, no, I mean, we've had a lot of people actually play around with Rally. And I think even the 4-inch, our Champion GT or Legend GT system is more than enough. And I mean, I'm reminded of a story of our friends at Superlap, sim shop just north of Detroit.
Mm.
So one of their staff there is really well versed and experienced real rally driver,
Oh yeah.
and he ended up driving on the 3 DOF 4-inch, and he ended up taking a jump, and on landing, you can literally hear. We have it on camera somewhere. I should try and find it. It literally took the wind out of him. So he hit the jump, and then when he landed, you can literally hear the, and then after that, he was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I never expected that out of the motion system. So he was able to get that out of the 4-inch. I think 6-inch, obviously, if you want extreme motions, it's great, or if you want to mix in flight, because you're
Mm.
gonna get a lot more pitch and roll out of it.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
for
That's
somebody that wants
it's
to
more
do
important
flight,
there for sure. Yeah.
definitely a benefit there.
I hope my girlfriend's listening, to be honest, because 4 inch is all you need, babe.
I mean, yeah, I mean we've heard that comparison from time to time about like is more better. Which actually brings me back to something that we've spoke about recently. One of the reviewers was trying to tell people that
Mm.
60 millimeters is enough. What he had failed to do is to tell people that he wasn't using pitch and roll, which is elevation change in camber.
Right.
But we did the experiment with you where we turned those
So
effects
different.
off,
Yeah.
and talk to us about it. How was it once we turned that off?
I think I said this while I was driving. I can't think of a reason why we would turn them off, because they're not invasive. They're not like you can put it a little bit down if you think it's too physical. But like the feedback you lose is so valuable and so precious. Like I mean, uh, I had mentioned this in the Nurburgring. Like when you're braking uphill or downhill, it's a completely different experience, right? And you know this inherently, but when you feel it, it's just so much better, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if he mentions why he turns it off. I'd be curious to see,
I think I can assume why, and I'll explain it in a second. But
because 2 inches is not enough,
he fails to mention why 60
right?
millimeters was enough for him. But what he does, and there's actually logic to it. I remember having a long conversation with him about it at the Sim Racing Expo in Germany. So the simulator that he has this on is really like an LMP car. He has like the whole head shroud around him, and he explains it, I think, in his video. So his platform with the pedals is separate than the wheel deck. So the wheel deck is connected to his monitor stand, which is static.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So I can see why in
Too
that
much, it
setup,
would be yeah. He's moving around relative to the wheel and like
yeah, I can see why.
mm,
But personally, and I respect the way that he's doing it, and if it works for him, great. But personally, I think he's losing by having the wheel deck separate and
yeah, I
not
think so too.
using the full capacity of what a motion system can deliver. Because like you said, feeling the elevation change gives you a lot of valuable data, and
So much.
it doesn't get muddy with it. It's not like it's too much.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And we've had thousands of people that have passed by at the expos and tried our motion system, and it's legitimately the thing that blows them away. They go up the hill at Watkins Glen, and they're like, "Oh my god, I feel like I'm going
I'm going
uphill."
up the hill. Yeah,
And it's
in
not
my living room.
something, yeah, it's not something that you really experience with. At least I haven't experienced that with other motion systems.
Right.
And yeah, it doesn't get muddy, and it doesn't take away from the rest of the experience. Um, so, and I mean, the other thing too is I think it's best to have that as an option, and then you can
Absolutely.
experiment with it
Yeah.
on and off. Then
Yeah.
if you're limited to a 2-inch actuator, then you just simply cannot turn that on without reaching. Because let's say you're going downhill for turn one at Watkins,
Yeah.
you're going to be using that 2-inch just to go downhill, and then you're going to hit the brakes,
Where is
and nothing's going to
the
happen.
yeah? But I think that's what surprised me because I keep thinking back of the older generation wheels where you had a very set amount of feedback, right? And if
Yep.
you would bottom out, then during the turn, because of the power of the turning, you would not feel the bumps because you'd
Hmm.
have no extra capacity. And this is, I think, what caught me by surprise. There was always extra capacity, even though I felt like the motion was bottomed out because I'm going downhill and I feel the bump of the braking or of the curb. And I'm like, okay, there's always that extra capacity. It never hits the red line.
Yep.
It's always there to give you more feedback if you need it, which was, yeah, it was very interesting.
Awesome. Well, maybe we'll get back to the motion conversation.
Because I could talk about it forever. I mean, one thing that I wanted to say relevant to this is that I've worked in the industry where we build flight simulators, right?
That's true.
Yeah. And so people, it's interesting that people think that there's no right or wrong. I can categorically tell you there is a right and a wrong. Like we would build level D flight simulators, which are certified for pilots to train on, and they have to be 100% accurate to what the pilot feels in the real plane. So there is a way. I actually was fortunate enough to be on an experiment where they loaded up a private jet
Yep.
with all the instrumentation to capture all these like changes in elevation and all that, and we went for a test flight to see how they capture this data. And mind you, these things run on massive actuators with 40-inch travel.
Hmm.
But yes, there is a way to instrument a car, get the exact forces out of it, and then compare it to your motion system. And I mean, yes, you can play with feeling. Oh, I feel like it should be this, but there is a baseline
Yep.
that exists, and I think somebody smart enough and with the the drive could get there
Yep.
and could tune this and could be like, this is it, boys. Like this is the holy grail, and you can play with it afterwards. But
Yep.
yeah, because in the wheel, there is a lot of subjectivity, right? People can
Yep.
be like, oh, I wanted more, I wanted less, but in this, you can get as close as possible, which
Yep.
is an interesting
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, I think I agree with you, and I think this is where we're going to continue to test more and more.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm huge on feel. Like I'm huge on feel, and even Adam, which is my my right hand guy for everything, and he's seen me build so many turnkeys or sit in so many other simulators, and I can get in a sim, and if the wheel angle is off or the height is just off by an inch, like I can get in right away and I spot it right
right,
away.
right, right, yeah, yeah.
So for me, feel is everything, and it's kind of how I've tuned this.
Hmm.
There are graphs that SimHub will give you that can show data.
Okay,
I've actually found that's helped me tune a lot of stuff in, but then there's other graphs where if I were to just use those, that it throws me completely off.
interesting.
But I definitely want to continue to perfect what we do,
Yeah, yeah,
where we are. I think it's the best that I've ever felt out of any other motion system so far. And I want to continue to make it better, and I want to continue to find ways to get better
hmm
because for me, perfection and getting as close as the right or wrong
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is really important. So we continue to take feedback, we continue to do tests and find ways to 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 grow and to measure.
Right. I think you were talking to me about like experiments that you have down the line, and that's it got me excited. I'm like, not a lot of people do this, right? And
Yeah.
it can expose flaws in systems,
Yep.
but if you're doing it, means that you're dedicated to making things better and improving stuff, and like you take this and put it in your product, which is like really really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. So again, we'll I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about motion, but let's talk about Hyperform.
Hmm.
So let's talk about this business that you've created, and how long have you been doing this now?
Only 3.5 years. Yeah, yeah.
Man,
So
time has flown by.
yeah,
I
it has.
was
It
going to
has.
say 2 years and three and a
Yeah, no,
half.
it's 3.5. Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since you rolled on your bicycle at Calabogie and
Yep. Yep.
so Hyperform, it's a funny story because it basically came about during a time attack session, and I was talking to a couple of guys who had ordered wings for their cars, and everybody was complaining like, "Oh my god, it's gonna take 8 months to get mine. Mine's back order for 12 months." And in my mind, I'm like, "I think I can print this in like 24 hours."
Yep.
And then I started looking into it, and I found a really big printer that could print one of these wings in one piece. Um, and yeah, 2 weeks later, I quit my job.
Yep.
I bought the printer. I didn't know where I was gonna put it,
Yep.
and Hyperform was born. So basically, Hyperform is a we do large scale 3D printing, and we also lean on my engineering background. So we give like engineering services, consulting, drawings, and all that expertise kind of entails. But mainly, it started off as me wanting to print car parts
Yep.
fast for people, functional parts, and I'd been printing, I'd been into 3D printing and all this technology from the beginning. So I
Yep.
remember I bought almost the first commercial 3D printer, and I think I spent 2 years getting that thing to print. You
Yep.
know, it was hell, but like every moment I spent with it, it's kind of tuning the motion system. It's like it's rewarding, and you get a
Yep.
little bit better, and in the end, it prints. Um, yeah, so you were my first client for some of these parts.
Yes,
We had
that is
developed,
true.
yeah, So thank you for putting faith in me. I know it wasn't perfect, but like,
It was more than best. It was more than good enough.
yeah. And it's funny because we closed the loop. We met at Calabogie,
Yeah,
and that's where we trialed my first product
yeah.
on one of your FRSs. And I remember sitting on that pit wall when you first ripped with my splitter on the car, and I'm like, please don't break.
Yeah. So talking about being the first client for those products.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a time where we were running the racing team with the Scion FRS. For those who aren't familiar with that name, it's the GR86s.
Or the Super
Um,
BRZ. Yeah.
and then more importantly, for those of you watching this and know who Suelio Almeida
Mhm.
was. So when you think back of when Suelio first raced, it was with our race cars. It was with these cars that Sebastian designed the aero
Yeah,
kit
yeah.
with. So like it's funny how it all
All
mixes in.
mixed.
Like
Yeah,
sim racers that have started separate businesses working with another sim racer that has started his business to race to pay for this seat of the car that you ended up putting a lot of
well,
designing
yeah,
time
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, we'll insert some clips of this so that you guys can see what Sebastian created for us
Hmm.
and how it went. And I mean, it was awesome. That kit really did wonders for us.
It did
Uh,
work surprisingly well. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that was at
We had a
our end
splitter
time.
and a wing for it, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was at our end of Super Production Challenge in Canada. And then we started to use those parts for more Lucky Dog endurance racing and
Hmm.
even some WRL events in the
Yeah,
States.
yeah. With the wing that melted.
Yeah, the first one I remember that at Daytona, man, it was really, really hot. So
It was active arrow.
exactly,
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah.
didn't need it to be that much for Daytona. So maybe the wing just knew better than we knew, and it
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
morphed
yeah.
itself into what
But
we
it
needed.
shows that it worked.
It
This is something was pushing it down, and honestly, for a wing that thick, it must have been producing downforce because it takes a lot to bend that, you know. So
Yeah,
it was an interesting test.
sure
Yeah, yeah, it
was.
sure was.
It sure was. But yeah, and I mean, it's cool to see somebody that's doing this. And I mean, again, like you were saying, because of your experience, like this is all CFD plan. Like it's not like it's just you think this arrow is going to work. Like no, you're
Right.
putting this through rugged testing and
Yeah,
engineering.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, as you said, most of it is feel. You get to a point where you kind of know and understand what the air is going to do around it, but to correlate that with actual data and actual calculations is just, it's grounding, and it releases that part of your brain where you're thinking maybe it's not going to work. So it gives you direct feedback. And yeah, sometimes it's very surprising in the shapes that you sculpt, and it gives you better tools, right? So yeah.
Yeah. And so since then, how has Hyperform evolved? Where is it now? Now?
It has definitely changed. Like the car stuff is a little bit of a side project.
Mm-hmm.
We do it for clients, but not as often. Like, so we don't. The goal is not to put products out there. We make custom one-offs
Mm-hmm.
for certain clients, but definitely it has evolved more towards B2B.
Yep.
We're doing much more business with other businesses. We've incorporated a lot of scanning services into our curriculum, so we do a lot of 3D scanning. And a lot of modeling. So it has expanded more towards the engineering contracting side,
Mm-hmm.
but the 3D printing is definitely at our core. We always provide some sort of feedback or prototypes or like functional parts that go with the services. But yeah, as soon as somebody comes in and says, I want a wing, all that disappears. And suddenly I'm scanning a car, I'm developing a wing. So definitely the passion is there, but I realize that it takes a lot of time to change a market,
Yep.
right? Because as soon as you tell somebody, oh, you're putting a plastic part on their Z06 or like their McLaren, it's different, you know.
Yep.
And we've experimented a lot with carbon plastic composites.
Yep.
So now we have a technique where we wrap these parts in actual carbon fiber. Um, we are trying to develop a partnership with someone that's very versed in this and does a really good job. So we might actually be doing some products. We got some contacts in China now that has developed a couple of parts for motorcycles that Hyperform has scanned, reproduced, and developed.
Yep.
So we're trying. I think at the beginning I thought I was gonna have this figured out in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And then you realize how many variables and yeah, how actual things work, you know.
Yeah.
So I think around year two I realized like the pressure's off. Like this is a lifelong journey, and as long as it's sustainable, as long as it brings me happiness, I'm going to continue doing it. And yeah, wherever it takes me, if it takes me back into the seat of a race car, fine. But if it's not, I'm still enjoying making signs for people, making figurines, or like,
Yeah.
all these like little interludes from the heavy engineering work. It's just, it keeps it fresh and fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and all for sure. And I mean, at the same time, I think it helps you develop new techniques, or
Yeah,
pushes you outside your comfort zone, which is always learning and
absolutely. Yeah.
things you can always bring back to the car scene, I'm sure.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. Like every project that we do, there is a parallel towards a or a car product or something that related to an automobile. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, exactly. And I think that's interesting. So for those of you watching, I guess if you want some custom aerodynamic parts for your car, I mean, even if you want stuff 3D printed for your sim, I'm sure Seb can help.
Yeah, yeah. We did some 3D printing for some adapters for pedals and little things to hold monitors or displays. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I would like to do a full Formula One cockpit for a sim, or like as you said, like the NASCAR Halo or whatever the
Yeah.
guy had. Yeah, yeah. That would be interesting, and I'm sure there's a ton of products out there, but yeah, the focus has been more on the engineering than anything else. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think you and I were just talking about it briefly before we started recording this, and how even I've had to evolve and I've changed a lot from where
Yes.
I started. And
Yeah.
I can tell you it's interesting because Vero has been my chance to pierce through this market, and really excel. But I've done a lot in the sim world with this business over the 8 years, and
Right.
had to evolve and adapt. And it's funny because you end up maybe somewhere that you didn't think
Mm-hmm.
you were going to end up.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my case, it almost feels like I can leave a legacy with this. I can have evolved and changed and transformed and made more affordable motion for everyone, and that's something that's a dream scenario for me.
Right.
And then hoping with your business that you'll have that moment where it just all comes together,
Hmm.
and something that you would have never expected. I mean, you definitely deserve it. So
Thank you. Thank you. But honestly, I've come to appreciate the journey more than the destination, and I've realized that even if that moment, say, never comes, this was been such an enriching experience, and I encourage everyone that's been thinking about this to take the leap.
yeah,
Yes, it's hard. Yes, you will cry a lot, but it's worth it.
yeah,
It's worth it. And even if you don't make it big or reach the point, I've touched people. Like I've had clients that, I've made a part that's unique to them, and I'm somehow part of them now. And it's an
yeah.
interesting position to be in, yeah, for sure. And I just realized that I've been kind of at every step of your company, even though we don't see each other too often. I've sort of been at those pivotal moments
Yes,
somehow. Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. And
No, this is true.
it's really interesting to have seen this whole thing, and it in my hard times, I did take out a lot of motivation out of it. I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
Mark would not have given up, so just get up and go to work and
yeah.
do something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something that you've hit there. I mean, through the times I've seen other businesses where you think they would have failed, and they just keep surviving and
Yep.
growing. And I think it's if you're going to be a business owner, that not never quit. Just
Mm-mm.
there's problems. There's always going to be problems,
Right.
but finding solutions fast and evolving, I think,
Yeah.
is something that is crucial. And I think you said it right. It's sometimes it's the journey,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And even where we are right now, it hasn't sunk in where we are,
Mm.
and it just feels like I'm still grinding it, just trying to get by.
And yet you're
Um,
such a
yeah,
yeah.
but I think there's like you said, like with certain clients, certain experiences that kind of become markers.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like you do it for that, you know.
Yeah.
Those moments, it's definitely why I think we do what we do, and we hope to continue and have many more.
Yeah.
Today
Absolutely.
was definitely one, to be honest, and you'll see a lot of Seb's reaction on
Oh
the motion
God.
system. And to be honest, dude, it's for me, it was epic. It meant a lot for me to get your honest opinion. And it was cool to see. It was
It
cool
was
to
more
see
than
your
honest. It
experience.
was unfiltered.
So, all right. So we've talked a little bit about our history of where we've come.
Hmm.
We've talked about your experiences on our motion system. We've now talked about Hyperform. Um, I think it's time to segue into the future. And
Future.
yeah, I mean, I've gotten to a point where you've known me and for a long time, and I've always been passionate about racing, and it feels a
Mm.
bit weird because one thing through all of this is I've kind of lost that passion a little bit, where everything has just been becoming so much work, so many hours into it, and I miss spending a lot of time on the sim. I still get on the sim, for calibrating stuff, for working with people's profiles, for coaching clients.
Not the same.
I miss getting ready for the Daytona 24 and
Mm.
iRacing. And then racing for me, the last years that we were running the race team was a lot of work. I was wearing a lot of hats. And by the time at my last
Yeah.
race, I was at Road Atlanta, and it was my first time racing there. And I loved the track. It blew me away. But it was a hot weekend, and there's a lot of stuff going wrong, and being between, crew chief, mechanic, customer service, admin, cook, playing all the roles and trying to drive. It just got to a point where I was done. Like I needed to get out of the car.
Oh yeah.
It started to feel like a job. So I'm hoping to get back to it this year. I'm hoping to free up a little bit more time so I can do it this
With
year.
different perspective though. Yeah.
Yes, and the business is successful, which is great because for the first time I'll be able to say, here's my money. I'm going to arrive and drive.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will play one role. I'm
Driver.
here to drive, and that's it. And I think that's important so that I can stay connected to what the real thing is.
For sure.
Um, and I'm hoping that one day you will find the time as well, so that you and I can get
Oh man.
into an endurance. And I think that would absolutely be a full circle like
Oh,
moment and just
that would be
amazing experience.
fantastic. Yeah. And we'd both be training on Sims. So.
Yes, exactly. Here are these two old school sim racers that are have put a lot of time together. And let me tell you, I mean,
Mm.
Seb and I at our pinnacle of on the sim were extremely fast, and I think we fed into each other very well. We had
Yeah.
very similar
Yeah.
styles, very
Yeah.
similar pace, sharing very similar experience. So I think that would be amazing to be able to share that in a real car.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It would mean the world to me. Like as you said, that full circle moment. It would be special for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when I got to try my own kit in your car around Calabogie, it was a little bit of the same, that shared uh, experience, and the way you set up the car felt natural to me. So
Yeah.
I think we have very similar driving styles, and yeah, it was great. It was a great experience.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to finally come down.
Why did it take me so long?
And then try the motion system. And I mean, once we're done shooting this, we can definitely jump on a little bit more.
Yes.
So this is your first appearance with Vero.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It will not be your last.
I hope not.
So
I really enjoyed this actually.
yeah, we'll definitely have to get you back on camera. Get you back on the motion system. Seb has actually come down today to deliver something that
Mm.
we will show you maybe on the next capture from this room.
Spoilers.
Yeah, but yeah, again.
What else? What else am I looking forward to? Like next time I come,
Um,
seatbelt tensioners.
actually,
Like,
actually, yeah. So, damn it. Every time I seem to do this, when we're thinking of wrapping it up, something else pops up.
sorry.
So we said that I was going to talk about what's coming.
Mhm.
So, we offer in the champion, so in the 3DUF system, we offer a 75 mil kit, which is 3 inches.
Right.
So that one's actually going to go away.
Mm.
We're going to stop offering that one. We're going to create another 4-inch system that will use a different technology that is not as high performing as what we currently have.
Interesting.
But the goal for it is to make it more affordable.
Mhm.
So we're essentially going to release something into the 3DOF world that will become even more affordable. So for those that can't afford the Champion GT, but want something from a reputable motion company,
Right.
then we'll have an offering there.
Okay.
The next thing is our seatbelt tensioners. We've been teasing this for a while. We've had prototypes at expos. We are really close, and we're going to have 3 models. One that's going to be currently priced at what you have on the market now,
Okay.
but it's going to offer better performance. And then we're going to have one that's literally going to take what is on the market now. It's going to make it feel like a belt-driven wheel compared to direct drive. So we're going to crank everything up. And the reason for that is because with my experience with seatbelt tensioners, I found that some of them are very gimmicky.
Hmm.
And they kind of end up taking away from the motion
Right.
system. And the reason for that is you need more torque. You've been in harnesses.
Yes.
Do you leave a harness loose, or is it like cranked up?
Tight.
So you need a lot of kilograms on your shoulders
Mhm.
just to be at neutral.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So if the
Not
solution's
simulating anything. It's just like your
just
idle state. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So if what's on if what you have isn't giving you that capacity, so essentially what ends up happening is the belts kind of are loose, and then you feel them move to give you that sensation of pressure.
Oh,
Because if they're already tight, they can't
they
move.
can't do. Okay, okay, okay.
So because you get belts that end up getting loose and then tight, like that doesn't simulate reality, and then that's why my brain gravitates to that, and then I lose sensation of what's going on in
There's
the
also a
body.
little bit of lag, right? So
What I want is I want a belt that's already tight, but it has
pull
the
on that.
torque level to give me a little bit of pressure. In one of the prototypes we have, we were starting to be able to push the kilograms up.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we over pushed the system and it was unreliable, which is why we went back to the drawing board. But it already gave me a taste
Of
of
what's
what
to come.
it's going to be. In what it was is I wasn't feeling belts move. I forgot I had a tensioner, but
Okay.
I was feeling like actual G-force
G-forces.
sensation
Yeah.
through corners and braking or elevation change.
Right.
But it wasn't my brain going, it's belts moving. It
It's
literally
G-force.
felt like static belts, but G-force.
Interesting.
And that's what we're excited about releasing
Mm.
and changing the game on the belt tensioner. So we have on both ends of the spectrum, we have a motion system that's going to make things even more affordable.
Okay. One of them. Yep.
Then belt tensioners are usually a lot less than motion systems, so they are a gateway into motion or immersion.
Okay.
So we will have that, but at a higher performance than what is currently available on the market
Okay.
with 2 of our models. And then we're going to have the end all be all game changer belt tensioner system that's going to show you what real G forces are supposed to feel like. So, really excited to have that on the market.
And you can combine the high-end belt system with the low-end motion.
Yep. Yeah. So the belt tensioners will be completely separate than everything. One thing to note on that. So right now you can buy a Champion GT or a Champion GTR kit and add the platform later.
Okay.
So you can turn your 3-DOF into a 6-DOF. With this new proposed 3-DOF, it will not be compatible. It's a different system. So therefore, you won't be able to add the platform. So if you want upgradability for the future, you'll need to go to Champion GT or Champion GTR. But if you just want a 3-DOF and it's what you can afford, then the Champion system will be absolutely for you.
Interesting proposition, Colin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, again, we're striving to try and make motion more and more affordable, at the same time giving people still
The right feedback, and yeah, because you don't want to detract from that. You don't want to take that away, because that's the more important part. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. So on that, I think I covered it all now.
Good.
So, I mean, we'll leave it at that. If there's something else, we're going to stop it. We can leave that for a future conversation. But yeah, it was great to have you down here. It was great to get your first reactions to the motion system. And if anything, it's cool because if you were to try this in the beginning when we were first starting to test it, it wasn't the same thing it is now. Now we've got a year and a half, and a lot of refining, a lot of feedback from other
And it
professional
shows.
drivers.
It shows for sure.
Yeah.
It shows. Yeah, yeah.
So I think you're trying it at the right time.
That's why I waited.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you for coming down. Thank you for bringing us the special gift that we will share with everybody soon. And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Perfect. Thank you for having me, man. It was an absolute pleasure.